And we are back here at Unite Austin. Thank you for joining us on Facebook and YouTube. We're here with the two main Marks in Unity. Marc Choi, Marc Tanenbaum from Unity Analytics. Welcome.
Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
We talk about analytics a lot. What does it actually mean, and how would you pitch it to people who find it a scary term and they don't know how to approach it?
So analytics is just the dashboard for your game in the world. You pour so much energy, your blood, your sweat, your tears, your time, your money into building a game. You release it to the world. You probably want to know how it's doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's usually, when I talk to people, that's usually how I introduce analytics. It is about numbers, and it is about data, but principally it's about answers. And importantly, being able to do something about those answers. So my game is not performing well with a certain type of people. I'm not making money the way I want to. I'm not retaining the users the way I want to. What do I do about that? How do I fix that? Because you want all that work you put in to mean something.
So for developers who want to use analytics, they don't have to worry so much about all of the math and the data. You guys take care of that for them, correct?
Yeah. So we're doing a lot of aggregation,
Okay.
a lot of segmentation, importantly, so you can see not just how everyone is doing, but how certain players are doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we're trying to fundamentally we're trying to make this as easy as possible for everyone, so that they can get down to the business of making games and not spending all their time thinking about the data.
Yeah, I think traditionally, to do analytics, you have to set up your own servers, do all the data collection, the data aggregation. Our mission as Unity Analytics is to really do all the heavy lifting for developers so that they don't have to do it themselves. And really not only doing that, but just take it a step further and produce insights out of the data so that they don't have to go digging through the data themselves to find the answers that they need, right?
You guys talk about the phrase that we use is like insights into action, right?
Sure.
Turning, like you said, the answers into what can I actually change to make the game or the project better. And we saw just on the screen at the moment, we have, this is Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, right?
Yeah.
And what did they use analytics for? How did it help them?
Mark, you want to field
Sure.
that?
Yeah, I mean, so Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition, they were, it's a great game by Square Enix that's coming out pretty soon. It's a mobile title for both Android, iOS, and Windows Phone as well. But we're really super excited because they gave us a sneak peek into their game and allowed us to integrate some of the really great analytics tools that are out there, one of which is called remote settings.
Okay.
So what that allows developers to do is to push dynamically in real time, different configurations or changes to the game, so that you can modify the game's behavior without having to create a new build and update it to the app stores and wait for users to download it.
So you can make changes without having to rebuild an update.
Exactly.
And it's just all stored in the
Think about how
cloud.
much time that saves, right?
Right.
To not have to go through the app store again. That takes some time.
Oh, yeah.
So just, I have a change, I want to make this change it in my dashboard, boom, live.
So what kind of changes would people use this for?
There's a lot of great use cases. You can do things like, let's say, the simplest example is do different promotions or themes around different events or holidays, for example. You can do a special scene for Christmas and then
holiday
switch it up
packages.
Exactly, that's right.
And actually,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, we have, as part of this Final Fantasy thing, we did a demo where we changed out these sort of scorpion creatures for the cactuar, which is, this kind of cool Final Fantasy creature.
Yeah.
And we thought, but not just do a change on the fly, but just do it for some users, right?
Okay.
So we have this great functionality that Mark's team has just put together.
That's right.
Right, for
remotes. Yeah, exactly. So we had a really robust segmentation engine that already existed as part of the analytics tool. So in Data Explorer today, or as you're understanding and looking into your data, you can segment different groups of users around demographic behavior, or player behavior, or device characteristics. We've coupled that with remote settings, so now you can actually target different configurations based on different groups or segments of players.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you can imagine, I want to do something special for my iOS users because iPhone 10 just came out and we want to celebrate that.
Right.
Or maybe I want to do something special, a holiday that is only important in this country but not in that country.
Yeah.
There's so many different things. You could identify your best players, so your most loyal
Give
players.
them rewards.
And give them
Or
rewards.
make it more
Ask them-
difficult to balance
Ask
things out.
them maybe to do if they would review your game, get better reviews in the store. So there's lots of things you can do with the segmentation on remote settings, which is like really opens up a lot of possibilities.
And because the remote settings are just, they're just variables effectively that you're remotely tweaking, you could do pretty much anything with it, right?
That's right. I mean, we allow developers to pass in, different variable types like strings, booleans, integers and floats, and yeah, it's really flexible in the way that you can control different things inside the game.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so other than remote settings, there's also standard events. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So my team's been working on this. It's basically, so we started looking at our data. We get a lot of data across this big wide range of a lot of games. We have a custom event system, which lets you send anything you want.
Yeah.
We realized when we looked at the data that most people are actually sending the same events over and over again. Things like level completion, things like onboarding tutorial flows, things like opening a store or buying an object or watching an ad. They come up over and over and over again. And we thought, why should everyone have to reinvent this every time? Why do they have to, like, that's a cognitive load on the developer to have to figure out what questions they want to have answered. So why don't we do that bit for them, make it really easy, and then they can just have that there for them. And when they need the custom things, custom stuff is still there. So we made that into an asset that's in the asset store. You can download it in 2017.3. I can tell you, we will have it in Unity, so you will no longer need an asset to do it. So that's very exciting for us.
Okay.
Right, and this is what I mean when we are striving as Unity Analytics to take the the heavy lifting out of using analytics, right? We've heard from a lot of developers that they appreciate a tool like Standard Events because it's almost like a guide in terms of telling them what the important things are to track about their game.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of the guesswork out of having to do it themselves.
There were these guys, I'll just mention quickly, that contacted us. The game's called Dragon Boom by Ankama Studios. They made a great game, and the game's been very successful in its launch, but they didn't know a lot about analytics. It was like they were sort of, what questions do we want to answer? They found Standard Events. They implemented practically the entire library. There's 34 events. They implemented almost all of them, and instantly they could make funnels that were clear to them. They could get information out of them. They could add custom information to the standard events to really tease out the details that made understanding their players much clearer to them.
So if you're someone who's in their position, wanting to get into all of this, what's the easiest way for you to, figure out how to use these tools?
Well, to start, it's right in Unity. There's the services window. You flip a switch, analytics is turned on. So there's no SDK.
Excellent.
I would suggest...
You do have to click one button, though.
You do have to... Well, actually, it is actually on by default.
Oh, okay, so you don't even have to
click a button. So you don't necessarily even have to do that.
Okay.
But, yeah, otherwise you would just turn it on. But then download the standard events package from the asset store.
Okay.
Follow down. So with code completion, it pretty much just tells you what all the events are. You can just like look and go, okay, there's a level start event. There's a level complete event. There's a start. So just go down that list. And from that, from turning it on and implementing the standard events, you will have about 90% of what like a pro analytics person would have. From there, obviously, we'll provide a lot of support to help you maybe figure out how to look at a chart and maybe how to build your own funnels, things like that, that'll make analytics like just so much easier to get going on.
So there is like support and tutorials on how to actually take advantage of this.
We've got all kinds of stuff there to help. Because we know, look, Unity developers as a whole are genius game developers. That's why they do what they, right? That's the whole point. Not all of them know the world of analytics. It's a different space. And what we're trying to do is we want to make this easy on you. We want this to not be something that you have to be an expert in order to get value.
All right.
What I always tell game developers is, what's the harm, right? Like it's your data is always yours, and you never know if you're going to have, if your game is ever going to take off. Let us, just turn it on, collect the data, and one day, if you ever do need it, you'll have it right there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you, guys. It was great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
And we
guys.
are up next with Chris White. He is the Principal Program Manager for Microsoft Windows Mixed Reality. So stay tuned. We'll be back after a short break.